Over to you, Krista.
Wow, isn't it exciting just looking back at a year where we started off 3 years ago with a monthly leadership investment session. And we invited people that were really mind molders in our industry that came and just invested in the lives of our people. And just reflecting back on this, there are golden nuggets in all of this. So that was reflecting back on what happened in 2019. And then 2020 happened. January, we had Chris Venter. When he was our speaker, Chris came out and he made an announcement, and all of us were shocked on the new direction that Chris and his career is taking. And then in February, we had Patrick Wana, who came and speak to us about spiritual intelligence. And today, as we are listening to spiritual intelligence, I just realized how important that session of Patrick has been. And then March, lockdown happened. And we actually took a pause and we said, let's pause on our monthly leadership investment sessions. But where we are in our world, we don't have to pause on anything. And myself and Jonathan discussed it, and we just sensed in our heart that it's a time to say, let's restart this monthly investment sessions and make sure that we invite leaders onto this platform to come and invest in the lives of our people. So all of you from AFCRI, all of my dear colleagues from AFCRI, and even Full Africa and the AFCRI group that are linked onto this today, that are this webinar, you are virtual hug from me just to all of you. I can't wait that we can see each other again. So for the interaction of this afternoon, we are going to use menti.com. Jonathan will explain to us how Menti is working, because we really want you to engage and interact with us. So Jonathan will explain Menti to us, and then he will introduce our speaker. Thanks, Jono.
Thank you so much, Krista. What an honor. Yes, this is something that we're doing for the first time, so I'm very excited, and really excited for the topic of today. But before we get there, I think some of you are acquainted with how Menti works, but if you open your browser, either on your computer or on your smartphone, and you just type in menti.com, so Google Chrome or Safari, type in menti.com, and then you type in, or you'll be requested to type in a code 942594. I'll also put it in the chat so that you're able to access it. But the question we're basically asking today is, while Koketso's talking, lean in, listen, and really, what do you hear from what Koketso's saying? It's important that as he talks, key nuggets like Krista explained, as you identify them, put them down, you can, you have more than one entry, so you can go ahead and put as many of those key nuggets or those key thoughts that you identify in there. It's important to us what you identify and listen to what he says. And it gives me a great honor and privilege to actually welcome Koketso. Koketso's from Pretoria, and he's from an area called Mooikloof Reach, so not too far from where I'm staying. Koketso's got a little baby girl, 7 months old, so I don't think he's had a lot of sleep recently.
Yeah. So if anything doesn't go right, we blame it on that.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. And I just want to say that Koketso is basically the MD of a company called StratisQ Africa, and in that, he basically has been traveling the world. He's a keynote speaker. And just to mention a couple of cities, he's been in Dubai, he's been in New York, and some South African or African cities as well, in Kenya and Ivory Coast. He specializes in organizational development, diversity, workforce engagement, and really performance coaching. So it gives me a real pleasure to welcome Koketso.
Koketso, welcome. When myself and you had the discussion, I was so excited about the topic that was just laid on your heart, hope and restoration. I believe we are living in a time where leaders, where everybody in our country are saying, who will lead us? Who will restore the hope? that there are. So it's so a privilege for us to just open this platform for you to share with us what is on your heart. You've got a CV, but most importantly, I know that you're an individual that are called for a time such as this. And there's a massive message in your heart, and we can't wait to hear from you today. So welcome, Koketso. Over to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Jonathan, for that intro, for the generous intro, and thank you for inviting me. I really feel blessed and privileged to be here. For me, it's not a right, but it's a privilege. I don't think I deserve it. I think it's a mercy that has really, allowed this moment to happen. And thank you for everyone who has tuned in, that has made their time, that has invited us into your heart and into your homes. We so grateful that you're trusting that small shift that will just kind of impact your future. Great. And in basketball, when they talk about pivoting, it's when you make a very small move that changes the whole game. You make a small move that throws off the other player, and I'm trusting that today, we will just make that pivotal move, that small move that will impact our future and things going forward. Like I said, my name is Koketso Molaolwe, and I'm married to an amazing wife. Her name is Molaolwe. She's at work. I have the privilege of working at home, and we have been blessed with a 7 months old baby. So when we were entering into lockdown, we were entering into lockdown in that sense with a 2 months old baby at the time, and we have really enjoyed her. It has really been a blessing. And that's my grandmother, who was a nurse at the time. So growing up, I struggled with dyslexia. I struggled to read and to write. It was a big issue. And in class, they would invite us to come and present before people and speak before people or read in front of people. That was a big problem for me as a dyslexic young boy. I could not read, and I could not write quite well. I could not spell quite well. But one day I just felt something inside of me, in my mind, in my heart. I did not know at that time where it came from. And I said to my friends, guys, one day, in that moment when I was still dyslexic, in that moment when I was still unable to speak to 20 high school girls and boys, in that moment where I was still in a classroom somewhere in the township, in that moment that looked like it's a dismal moment, that looked like it's a small moment, that looked like it's a moment of failure, because I could not speak in front of people, I could not express myself well, I could not do this thing. So in that experience that felt like failure, that felt like a perpetual state of failing, I came up to my friends and I said to them, one day I will speak in front of the world and the world will listen. And they laughed at me. I understand why they laughed. They laughed at me. They're like, bruh, you can't even speak in front of the 10 of us. You can't even speak in front of the 6 of us. Yet you're saying you will one day speak in front of the world. It baffled them as much as it baffled me to say, how can I see myself speaking to 1,000 people, the millions of people across the world, yet I could not speak in front in front of just 20 people to 40 people in my class. And I realized that that is something about vision. There's something about a dream. It is not limited to the circumstances we find ourselves. Vision is not limited. It's not limited by the circumstance we find ourselves. It's not limited by the environment we find ourselves. The space in which vision exists is vast, is limitless. It does not have boundaries. And when we speak about hope, we speak about vision, and we find ourselves in a time and a space where we are faced with a global pandemic. The circumstances are not favorable. The circumstances don't look good. For many of us, many people have lost work. Many people have lost family members. Many people have lost loved ones. Many people have lost their income. Many people, you know, that according to the statistics, 36% of companies have had to lay off people. 36%. That is no child's play. That is no joke. How do we harness hope in the face of 36% of people losing their work? How do we harness hope in the face of dropping GDPs, of contractions in our economy? How do we find hope in face of 44% of businesses? They say they don't know if they will continue. As a business leader, as a worker, as a parent, as a mother, as a father, as a community leader, or wherever you find yourself in a space, how do we harness hope? How do we gain hope to move forward in light of what we are experiencing? In light of what we're experiencing, people losing work, people losing lives, people losing hope, people losing their minds, people losing, the environment is not looking good. How do we gain hope? And I say vision. There must be something that wakes us up every morning. There must be a vision that wakes us up every morning. It was that vision that was able, that gave me the strength and the mindset to see myself as what I am doing today. A lot of those people that laughed at me when I said to them, I'll speak to the world today, they'll be surprised to say, hey, here I am speaking to amazing people at AFGRI, and I do this every day of my life. There was a vision. The circumstances did not support the vision. The skill set did not support the vision. The environment did not support the vision. But if the vision is clear and strong enough, it can supersede and go beyond the environment, whatever it is presented with. In 1892, General Electricity was created. It was birthed through his official, though he officially got started in early 1880s. Thomas Edison and company launched General Electric right in the middle of a recession. In this period, there was a panic. There was an economic panic for 60 months where economic activity dropped up to 40%. But nevertheless, they persisted and started their company. Today, that company is worth $95.2 billion US. This company was started in the midst of a recession. It was started during a period of 16 months of economic downturn, of 40% of economic activity having come to a standstill. In 1929, the company called Disney was started. And in this moment, it is a moment where the just before the Great Depression. We all know about the Great Depression. Troubled times were lowing. Troubled times were shooting up. It was depressing. It was difficult. But in that time, the owners of Disney decided that the Americans need a smile. In the middle of a depression, they need a smile. Today, that company is with $69.6 billion US dollars. This is where, that's the time where Mickey Mouse came about during the Great Depression. Today, we know the Mickey Mouse, the character. It was during the Great Depression that this character came to be, just after the Great Depression. 1975, an oil crisis crippled the stock market and crashed, that led to 16 months of recession, where the GDP took its worst hit in nearly 20 years. However, the decline did not stop Bill Gates and Paul Allen from developing the new computer software business called Microsoft, which launched in April the 4th, 1975. Literally just days after the recession was considered officially over. Within a decade, the company grew and launched its IPO, and in 1986, that created 3 billion and 120,000 processors. Days after the depression, days after the recession, Microsoft was launched. Microsoft today is worth 125 billion US dollars. Right in the middle of a recession, right in middle of environments that were not conducive, that were not favorable, men and women were able to create businesses that today still exist. Business leaders were able to create economies that today still impact the lives of people. Leaders were able to stand up and change people's lives. They were able to stand up and employ people. They were able to stand up and bring life into the communities. They were able to stand up in the midst of that. And my question to you this afternoon is, what will be your call? And when we talk about hope, I've decided to abbreviate this word hope, because I believe that there is something in it as we extrapolate it that is able to propel us forward. And I've asked 4 questions to say, number 1, what are you hearing? Because I believe there's something that is pivotal that these business leaders heard in the middle of the recessions that propelled them to start their businesses, even in that. There must have been something that propelled Fred Smith in 1971 to start FedEx in the middle of a recession. What are you hearing? There must be something that they heard in the middle of that season, in the middle of those tough times, that propelled them forward. And my question to you today is, what are you hearing? I remember a story. A story is told of 2 neighbors. The one neighbor was an Afrikaans oom who was a farmer, and the other neighbor was a young, DJ who had now moved into a suburb together. So the oom moved from the farm and moved into the suburb, and this young DJ also moved from the township into the suburb, and now they were neighbors. And I mean, you can imagine an oom from the farm and the guy, DJ from the township being neighbors. That can be a recipe for disaster. Well, one evening, there was a thunderstorm, and the thunders began roaring, and the DJ lamented and said, "No, man, that means tomorrow the rain is coming, and it means tomorrow I will not be able to go to my gig." And the farmer exclaimed and say, "Yes, the rain is coming. That means tomorrow I can go and begin to prepare the land and begin to do the work that is necessary, because soon planting season that will come, because it had been dry for some time." They were both exposed to the sound of the thunder, but they interpreted it differently. And the interpretation of the information we hear is in accordance to the vision we have. The farmer had a seed to plant. he had something to plant and put down, and the DJ just wanted to go and have fun, and that's what separated them. They were listening to the same thing, but in listening to the same thing, they heard different things, and that determined their next steps. My question to you today is, in the middle of this pandemic, in the middle of this recession, in the middle of all the downturns that we're hearing that we have contracted by 51% in our GDP. My question is, what are you hearing? The brain is biased and filters information, overwhelming information. There's information, we get a lot of information every day, but the brain is very biased. Our prefrontal cortex seeks information that connects to what we put as a personal vision. Our brain listens to everything and it filters it according to what we have set ourselves as a goal. One of the leaders who has spoken at Avgri's Boss of Krobla, he came to our leadership session where I lead a group of about 100 leaders. And just before the lockdown, when the president had announced the 500 million stimulus package, 500 billion stimulus package, and a lot of people were complaining and say, we are getting into 500 billion worth of debt. And he changed that perspective. He says that means there will be 500 billion worth of opportunities in the country. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we can talk around that, but he says your perspective needs to determine how you move. Your vision, if you have a seed, if you have a ground, if you have a vision, you see the 500 billion as an opportunity and not as a disruption. Yeah, there's a lot of things we can say around it, but it was the vision, it was the perspective of vision that changed the behavior of different people. When he said that, a lot of people walk into the fact that, you know what, this might be time for me to start that business. This might be time for me to take that risk. This might, because they had heard a different message about the same scenario. My question to you today is, what are you hearing? In this scenario we find ourselves, what are you hearing? There's a saying that says faith comes by hearing, but I believe fear also comes by hearing. It depends. What are you hearing? What are you listening to? In all these things, is what you are hearing driving you to fear, or is what you are hearing driving you to faith? Is what you are hearing crippling you, or is what you are hearing catapulting you? My question to you this evening or this afternoon is, what are you hearing? In the middle of the noise, in the middle of the confusion, in the middle of the pandemic, are you hearing we are doomed, or are you hearing we will overcome? Are you hearing this is the end, or are you hearing this is the beginning? Are you hearing we can persevere, or are you hearing this is the end? Because the information we are getting a lot of information, but we interpret it according to the vision we have. If we do not have the vision, then any information that comes, it just hits us. It just comes through. There's nothing that blocks negative information. There's nothing that blocks disruptive information. There's nothing that blocks information that kills our dreams. There's nothing that blocks the information that kills our confidence. There's nothing that blocks that information that brings us depression. If we do not have vision, we don't have a defense. Vision is a defense against discouragement. It's that thing that says, regardless of the circumstances, I'll stand. What are you hearing? What are you hearing? Allow, and if you have not created a vision as yet, you can consult a mentor, you can consult a coach, you can consult different people that will help you clarify that, because vision builds up resilience. A lot of people who are resilient is not because they are strong. It's not because they are strong, but because they have a vision. You find that they have the same physical strength as you, but they have vision, and that's why they keep going forward. It's not because they are smarter than you, but it's because they have vision, and that keeps them going. They refuse to give up because there is a vision that is inside of them that must come about. Vision pulls us forward. Vision is a call that is sitting on the other side of our comfort zone, calling us. A vision is a call on the other side of calamity, calling us. Vision is the call on the other side of disruption, calling us. What are you hearing? Allow vision to filter. Allow vision to filter. For example, I am passionate. I'm passionate about our country. I'm passionate about our country, and when the clicks thing, I'm gonna go there. When the click thing came about and there was fights, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, we are doomed, we're doomed, they were doomed, we're doomed." I'm like, though we do not celebrate this clicks mess, for me, I celebrate that it has created an opportunity for us to come closer to one another and talk about our differences. Because I have a vision to see the country united. I have a vision to see people reconciled. I have a vision to see people living together. So I looked at the potential mess that it was. I was like, this is a messed up situation. I don't wish that it was here, but it's an opportunity for a conversation about coming together to happen. That vision, it determined how I interpret the situation. Many of us, we allow the situation to interpret itself and influence us. But when we have vision, the vision interprets the situation and we influence the situation. When we don't have vision, we are influenced by anything that comes. What are you hearing? What are you hearing? And number two, what are you open to? This next season that we are stepping into, it requires us to be open. It requires us to be open. Roy Reynolds says, resist change and die. Accept change and survive. Cause change and lead. What are you open to? Are you open to change? Because things have changed. And those that are closed, they are not going to make it. Those that are closed are not going to move past this time. But those that are open, those that are open-minded, open-hearted, and open-handed, they are able to move forward. Those are the people that will change the world. What are you open to? Many of us are going to struggle to move forward because we are so closed. We're like, you know what? I've always done things this way. This has always been the way I live. This has always been the way I think. This has always been the way we do things at Ivory. This has always been the way we do things in my house. This has always been the way we do things in our management team. This has always been the way we do business, whatever. But it is not going to work anymore. And we need to be open enough to cause the change. We're like, you know what? We did not ask for the pandemic and it has changed our lives, but we're not going to allow it to lead us. We are going to change things in our business so that we can lead post this thing. Well, I'm going to change things in my finances. I'm going to change things in my heart. I'm going to change things in my mind. I'm going to change things in my home. I am going to change things so that I can take control of my life. The change that comes from outside will control us, but the change that comes from inside, it gives us control. The change that comes from outside controls us. The change that comes from inside, it gives us control. And we need to be open-minded. We need to be open to say, you know what, things have changed. I had better initiate change within. I had better initiate counter change inside. I need to be open. This next season is going to require us to be open. One of the basic human needs, the basic psychological needs of people is control and orientation. Control and orientation is that when we understand stuff, when we understand things, we feel that we are in control. And when we feel that we are in control, we feel safe. So when we have orientation about stuff, we feel like we are in control. When we understand what is happening, when we understand things, we feel like we're in control. Guess what? COVID came and we felt like we don't understand what is happening. And because we felt like we don't understand what is happening, most of us, we felt out of control. And the way to get that control back is to be initiators of counter change. We are not going to wait to see what is going to happen and adapt to it. We need to say, I am going to initiate change that is going to set me up to be able to take advantage of whatever opportunities is coming. I'm going to initiate change within that will help me to have a defense against whatever is coming. We're not waiting for the new normal. We are creating that new normal. Those that are waiting for a new normal will not make it, but those that are creating the new normal will make it. Our hope is in the fact that we have the opportunity to create this new normal. A lot of people are waiting for the new normal, and those are the ones who are going to be following. We have an opportunity to create the new normal. We're not waiting for the new normal to see what will happen. We're not waiting to see what will happen. We are making it happen. There has been a disruption. There has been a disruption. We need to be open enough to say what has been disrupted is disrupted. We are creating the new normal. We are not waiting for the new normal to be created. As we wait for it to be created, then we'll follow. You see, there's two mindsets at play right now. There is a fixed mindset and there is a growth mindset. And I'm sure these are mindsets that you have learned about. The fixed mindset is the belief that the skills, the intellect, and the talents are set and unchangeable. The growth mindset believes that the skill set, the intellect, the talent can be developed through practices and perseverance. When it comes to desire, the fixed mindset says, I'll stick to what I know. Either I'm good at it or not. The growth mindset says, I want to learn new things. I'm eager to take the risks. When it comes to skills, the fixed mindset says it's fine the way it is. There's nothing I can do to change it. The growth mindset says, is this really the best I can do? What else can I improve? The growth mindset wants to do better. The growth mindset says, yes, the pandemic has brought about this, but what can I do? Effort. When it comes to effort, the fixed mindset says this is a waste of time. There's a lot of things to figure out. But the growth mindset says, I know this will help me, even though it's difficult. I know that in the long run, this will help me, even though it's difficult. Part of being hopeful is that in the next season, we are going to have to embrace even difficult things. Because it's in those difficult things that we develop. It's in those difficult things that we grow. It's in those difficult things that we become better. I always say to people, after this pandemic, I am not hoping for better things. I am hoping to be better myself. Because if I'm better myself, I can always create better things. But if I just get better things, I will soon lose those better things. So my aim is not to get better things. My aim is to be better. My aim is not to be not to get a better business. My aim is to be a better entrepreneur. My aim is not to get better employees. My aim is to be a better business leader. My aim is not to get better finances. My aim is to be better in managing finances. My aim is not to get a better wife. My aim is to be a better husband. My aim is not to get a better job. My aim is to be a better employee. And that should be our mindset. not to get better things, but to be better ourselves. Because if we are not better, we can and we will get better things, but we will lose them. But if we are better, even when we lose the better things, we'll be able to create them over and over and over again. So as you go to Afgri, don't hope for a better, as you go back to the office, don't hope for a better company, be a better employee. Don't hope for better subordinates, be a better manager. Go to want to be a better manager. Don't hope for a better boss. Go back to be a better subordinate. Don't go back to expecting better things. Challenge yourself to be the better. Challenge yourself to be that. What are you hearing? What are you open to? What are you hearing and what are you open to? Number 3, as I'm getting close to the end, who are you partnering with? There's this verse that I like. It's in Ecclesiastes 4, verses 12. It says, though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. Two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. Though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands cannot easily be broken. Can I tell you something? We're entering into a season where we do not know much. And Krista, if you are going to go to an Afrikaans lady, you are probably going to get all you know. If I'm gonna go and partner with a young black guy, I'm probably gonna get what I know. If you're going to go and try to partner with the people who look like you, who speak like you, who walk like you, chances are you guys are going to do what you have always been doing. And it has proven it has not worked. This is a time where we have to partner with people who don't speak like us, who don't walk like us, who don't think like us. As long as we're going in the same direction, that is the most important. As long as we all want to go in the same who is Zulu and I am Benda, when I come together from different experiences and perspective and create something magnificent and magical. If we go back to the same setup, to the same people that look like us, we're going to create what we have always created. We're not going to create anything new. We're not going to create anything life-changing. If we are going to change our country, if we are going to change the world, we need to be able to embrace the people that don't look like us, because that's where the magic happens. That is where the magic happens. The magic happens when the different things, what makes the rainbow so beautiful is the difference. The magic happens in that. Who are you going to partner with? Probably this is not the message of hope you were looking for. You were looking for a message that say, yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. It is going to be great, but we are going to make it great. We are going to make it awesome. I always say to people, the hope is not at the end of the tunnel. The hope is inside of us. The light is not at the end of the tunnel. The light is inside of us. It is not at the end of the tunnel. The light is inside of us. We are the light. We need to switch on. The light, many of us, we are the light and we're walking around looking for the light as opposed to standing and switching on. Standing and switching on. Who are you partnering? Who are you partnering with? A study shows that companies that follow a structured alliance process consistently report better success results with an average of about 80% success. And companies that do not have alliance, they report 20%. So companies that have alliances, they are more successful than companies that don't. My life got better when I married my wife because then there was two of us. Me and my wife, we are vastly different. We are extremely different. I'm an introvert. My wife is an extrovert. My wife wants to talk all the time. I want to talk only now, and after this, I want to keep quiet. But she has made me better, and I can only hope I have made her better. I want to challenge you. Go and seek those that don't look like you, don't speak like you, don't walk like you, because the next season is calling for that. The next season is calling for that. And you might be asking how. There's processes that can help to form those partnerships. And then lastly, how will you engage? How will you engage? The next season, I'll tell you a story as I close. So last year, a mentor of mine organized an event in Cape Town where a group of business leaders were invited to go and speak. And Bosov Grobler, one of the leaders who has spoken here, was also part of the panel. So I was invited to be part of that speaking panel. And I was given the last slot. I was given the last 45 minutes of the conference. I was excited to be speaking amongst such great leaders. I was really excited to be able to be given this opportunity. And we get there, then the conference is going. I had prepared so well. I was ready to really give my best. And closer to the time, the program director approaches me and says to me, look, we're running out of time. Can you take your 45 minutes to 30 minutes? And I said, okay, I can do that. I can do it in 30 minutes. I was enthusiastic. I said, okay, I can still do this. And as time progresses, he comes to me and say, look, man, we're really running out of time. We are running behind schedule. Can you make your talk 20 minutes? I'm like, okay, I think I can still do 20 minutes. And then he comes for the third time and says, man, it's not looking good. Can I ask that you make it 15 minutes? At this time, I'm getting uncomfortable, but I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do 15 minutes. He came to me again and said, can you make it 10? That was not the last time. He came again and says, can you make it 5? And then he came for the last time. He says, can you say 1 or 2 sentences? I went there prepared for 45 minutes. Now, all I'm getting is 1 or 2 sentences. They're like, can you make it 1 or 2 sentences, about 2-3 minutes? Can we please ask, because we are out of time? In that moment, I had a right to be offended. I had a right to complain. I had a right to say, you did me wrong. I had a right to say, I have prepared. I have done all these things. I have my notes. I've done all the work. And all you're giving me is 2 minutes. I had the right and I had the choice to say, am I going to walk away from this or am I going to engage? I had the choice. Am I going going to make the difference? Am I going to impact people's lives in these 2 minutes that I have? Or am I going to walk away and satisfy my anger and my entitlement and say, I flew all the way to Cape Town just to come and speak for 2 minutes? Who do you think you are? Who do you know who I am? Do you know where I come from? I come from Kruman. You can't just give me 2 minutes. I want my 45 minutes. I could have done that, and I would have been well within my right because I invested my time and I had a choice to make. I had a choice to make to say, what am I going to do? And I took those 2 minutes and made sure that they were my best 2-minute speech I have ever given. In the midst of an unfair situation, in the midst of an unfavorable situation, in the midst of feeling undermined, in the midst of feeling belittled, in the midst of feeling robbed, in the midst of feeling like I am not respected, I still gave my best. I still gave the best I had. I made sure that those 2 minutes is the best 2 minutes I could give. And out of that, I got 2 international trips from those 2 minutes, because the power was not in the time. The power was in the attitude. The power was not in how long I speak. The power was in the conviction with which I speak, that even under unfavorable conditions, I will still give my best. Even under circumstances that don't seem fair, I will still give my best, because I know that my results are not based on the circumstances. My results are based on my effort. I will still give my best. My attitude will not waver because the circumstances have changed. Many of us are going into spaces where circumstances have changed. We're going into spaces where sometimes we're going to have to take a lower paying job. You're going to circumstances where things have changed. You're going to circumstances where maybe you're going to be moved from your position. You're going to circumstances where things are not favorable. You're going to circumstances where the business is not going to make as much money as it used to make. You're going to circumstances where maybe you might be asked to work with people you don't like. You're going into circumstances that do not look as favorable. My challenge to you is engage as if they were the best circumstances. Engage as if they were the most favorable circumstances. Let your attitude not be determined by the environment, but let your environment be influenced by your attitude. That is my hope and prayer for you. May your hope be practical. May you hear things that align with your vision. May you be open to creating the future you want. May you partner with people that do not look like you, and may you engage like the environment is great. May you engage like the environment allows you. Thank you for that.
Wow. Koketso, what an amazing message. You have really given us handles for hope today. It is so in line with what we are creating within AFCRI. We are creating a vibrant culture through diversified people that are unified, that are coming together in unity to say, this is our company, we're taking responsibility for this, and we will do this by respecting one another. Today you gave us handles on how to achieve the vision that we have for AFCRI is to be an enabler of food security in our country. And Jacob de Villiers, our CEO, so regularly say to us, we are living in favorable circumstances within the agricultural sector. And today you have just confirmed so many things for us. And we salute you for this amazing message. I am sure that the fruit of the seeds you have sown today, the harvest will be great for you. Koketso, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We would like to see if there were any people that engaged on Menti and said, what did they hear out of your talk? And you are so welcome to respond. Jonathan, is there anything on Menti that you want to share with us, please?
Krista, not at this point. I don't see any responses coming through. unless I can maybe put on the last mentee and give people an
Okay.
opportunity to put that on.
Yes, please. Will you go onto mentee.com with the Jonathan, can we just get that code again? The code 492594, and just tell us what you are hearing from what Koketso is saying. And then the last question is, what is the one thing you are taking out of this session that you will go and implement? There is power in our engagement. That's so true. And I'm so convinced in sitting here thinking about what Koketso is saying. It's so easy for us to listen to this message and go back and just do things the way that I knew how to do it. He said it over and over. We have to embrace our diversity. Our future is lying in our diversity. And may we hear today, may we just not look in the mirror and hear certain things and turn around and forgot what we have heard, but may we implement what we have heard today. Listen and keep on listening. Who are you listening to? We've got once every 2 weeks, we've got a community for our employees where Jacob de Villiers and all the leaders of our different businesses are talking to our employees. We are openly sharing where we are in the business. We are dreaming together there. Specifically what Koketso said here is we are employees that are saying, this is our company. We've got a vision, we've got a dream, and we will look beyond the circumstances and we will create a better tomorrow for our children and their children and their children. That is what we are busy with. So who are you listening to? Make sure you join these platforms that we are creating, that you can really hear the right news that are taking place, and don't give your ears out to the negativity around you. This is amazing things that are coming through here. If all of us that are on this line and people that are joining us live on Facebook are just today taking this one thing and go and implement that, imagine what is the difference we can make. Vision. Without vision, people perish. You today in all of this, just get a new vision. Koketso, your vision has been like, I don't care what people are saying about me. I know what the vision and the purpose of my life is. So great. Is there anything you are seeing that you want to comment on, Koketso?
Sure. There's so many great things that are really coming out of this. And I think, I think the guys are just sharing what they heard, and I love what you're saying. If we go and implement this, just the 42 of us, we can touch 10 people each, and that'll be 400 people. And they can touch 10 people each, and that'll be 4,000 people. They can touch 10 people each, and that'll be 400,000 people. They can touch 10 people each, and that'll be 4 million people. And the possibilities are endless if we just go and seek a clearer vision and be open-minded and partner with people that don't look like us, and really engage with passion and resilience. That's it for me. That's
Absolutely.
it for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. You have really encouraged us today. Thank you so much, Koketso. Please, for all of our AFGRI employees that have joined us, what are you hearing? What are you open to? Who do you partner with? Please make sure we partner and embrace our differentness, because it's in our different thinking that we will create a better tomorrow. And then how do I engage? What is my attitude in this circumstances that we are in? So relevant for all of us in our organization. So may you all be blessed. We are really looking forward in having all of you again onto this platform where there's an investment into the leaders. The leading for us is you lead with or without a title. Leadership is nothing to do with a title, but if you are leading, you are actually activating the change. So we're looking forward to see you again in a month's time. We will announce our speaker. Please look at the press, as we call it. And Koketso, we would love to engage further with you with regards to all the knowledge that you have in terms of How do we embrace our diversity? How do we just face our own giants and make sure that in our differentness, we just lean into the strength that there is? Any final words from your side, Koketso?
No, I think I think, Krista, is just, I pray that you know, what God has called this business to be, that it will see the fruition of that. And I think that the issue of food security in our country is a big one. And I'm just praying a big blessing onto the business that you'll just see flourishing. Yeah.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We really appreciate, and we take that. May you and your family also be blessed, and may you see how everything in your life is just growing in the same way that your baby is growing into being fulfilled, into this amazing person God created her to be. Jonathan, any final words from your side?
Krista, from my side, it's really been an inspiration. And like Koketso said, we were expecting a whoa hope. But I believe if you look at the word hope and you break it down into that acronym, you look at the word very differently. And it starts taking on a brand new meaning. And this is what this has been today for me, a new experience. And I've also learned. So, yes, thank you very much, Koketso, for your wisdom and who you are.
Thank you. Thanks, Jono. Also, thank you to Rian, my husband, who are working behind the scenes to help us with the technical side. This is our first time live on Facebook. So we are having a lot of FFTs. And I don't know if you remember that. When last did you have a when last did you do something for the freaking first time? And it was great to be live on Facebook with all of you today. Stay tuned and all the best. Thank you.